facing, as people are facing massive evictions, as small businesses are facing massive evictions. This is what people want to hear. And when you're not talking about it, the other side fills that vacuum.
Nomiki Konst, host of the Nomiki Show on YouTube, was on Fox News and educated their audience about what Democrats need to do to be more successful. Now, this is a message you rarely hear on the other cable networks, surprisingly, but Fox News, because they're open to this, civil war within the Democratic Party, they are more willing to have this conversation. So watch Nomiki here on Fox, detailing exactly what Democrats should be doing.
Okay, Nomiki, let me ask you first, if you take a look at what's happening in California, the GOP there, surprisingly, is poised to flip 4 House seats, more than any other state. What do you think? You think California is going to be paving the way for the GOP in other states?
I mean, it could with a couple of seats here and there, and potentially a Senate seat as well. But I think the reality is we know what the makeup, at least statewide, is in terms of Democrats versus Republicans. It's an overwhelmingly Democratic state. I do think what's important to note here, though, is the seats that the Democrats lost to Republicans, especially these swing districts, because the California seats in particular are more swingy. They're all very socially more progressive. They're not socially conservative. It seems that the Democrats weren't really running on a message that was different than the Republicans. These were swing centrist Democrats. And if you look at the seats where Democrats did pick up in swing districts, it was Democrats that came forward with a very strong message: Medicare for all, eliminating student debt, acknowledging climate change and wanting to do something about it. When the Democrats just show up and don't say anything, of course the other side with a message is going to win. This is just politics 101. And I really, really hope that after this election, the Democratic Party has learned its lesson after shellackings and losing thousands of seats over 10 years.
Nomiki, the results have shown a significant reversal from the 2018 midterms. I mean, that was marked by a rabid anti-Trump furor that helped Democrats flip 7 House seats back then. So quite a change now. What messages do you believe resonated with voters this year in favor of Republicans in particular? And what do you think Democrats need to do to turn that momentum around, if you will, to avoid losing control of the House in 2 years?
I think your question was spot on. What messages? Great question. What messages did the centrist Democrats run on? I didn't hear it. No message. It was, we're not Trump. Well, that didn't work because people did vote against Trump, but then they voted with their party line. There was record turnout for Republicans and Democrats, but higher than was estimated. And I think that the campaign committees on the Democratic side overplayed their hand. As usual, they just relied on turnout rather than investing in candidates who believe in their communities, have something to stand for, believe in Medicare for all, which has overwhelming national support, Republicans, independents, and Democrats, believing in eliminating student debt, a real set of solutions to the economic problems people are facing, as people are facing massive evictions, as small businesses are facing massive evictions. This is what people want to hear. And when you're not talking about it, the other side fills that vacuum. And just one more point on that Uber Prop 22, there are hundreds of millions of dollars pouring in from those industries. So, of course, the folks that raise hundreds of millions of dollars are going to win.
Now, what I find most enjoyable about watching a clip like that is knowing who is watching that on television at home. Because this is a network, and honestly, it's all the networks, that keep pushing the idea that if Democrats go too far left, well, that's why they lose. Yet, none of that bears out in the data. Not a single person, not a single Democrat that supports Medicare for all lost their race. Not a single one. The only Democrats that lost their race in the House were centrist, moderate, so-called moderate, I call them conservative, Democrats. Democrats that had no real message. And it's also not just about the message, as others like AOC have discussed this before. It's also about how much you invest or how much the party invests into those states, into those communities, into those counties, into those districts, and also being able to have a real, campaign when it comes to online campaigning. So a lot of the campaigns that lost, the Democratic campaigns that lost, put almost no money into online campaigning, which is insane in the year 2020. So you have to have that. It's the combination of having that real investment in the community, having an investment in online campaigning, and also having a real message to deliver to people. And this is something that, again, is barely ever discussed on cable news. But you'll occasionally see it on Fox News because they enjoy having these civil wars. But one last thing here before I go. I got to plug Nomiki Show. It's a fantastic show. Check out the Nomiki Show on YouTube. She goes live every day. In fact, she's possibly live right now. You can check her show out afterwards. But she's live, I believe, Tuesdays to right here, Tuesday to Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So check out her show. She's fantastic. Puts out clips afterwards. And this is somebody who has real world experience working within different aspects of the party and being a surrogate for Bernie Sanders. So check out her show. It is fantastic.